I had heard about this guy named Moe Norman, but he was kind of this mystical character from Canada that I didn't even know he was really real. I mean, it was just this guy that was known as an incredible ball striker that no one really could get close to, that not too many people knew. He was reclusive. He didn't really play that much on the PGA Tour, so no one really knew him. He was from Canada. You know, I think about this a lot, and I get asked this a lot, why, you know, Moe didn't win a major championship. And it makes sense. We tend to rate the best golfers are the ones that win major tournaments. And I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, you know, I was watching the Garth Brooks documentary. He didn't write half the songs. He didn't write half the songs that he became famous for, right? You don't even know who the songwriters are, right? So I'm thinking, you know, Garth just sings them, but he didn't write them. And the songs are incredible, right? Moe is like a songwriter to me. He has written this incredible song, right? This golf swing. He's just not going to be the one that's going to win a major championship with it. So that's what I see in Moe Norman. If you're going to win a major championship, you know how many events the average tour player has to play on the PGA Tour before he wins a major? There's guys like Ricky Fowler. I don't know the stats on this, but I bet you Ricky's played 500 PGA tournaments or more. He hasn't won a major yet. So it's a numbers game on how many. If Moe would have played 500 PGA Tour events, he would have won a major. But he didn't play because he didn't want to play on the tour. He didn't want to travel. He didn't want to be the guy. I don't know Bob Tway very well, but now I'm around Bob a lot because we're at the same club. A friend of mine was talking to Bob the other day, and he asked Bob, what's the worst thing about playing on the tour? And Bob said the traveling. He goes, you basically show up and you're playing golf because you're away from your family, you're away from home. It's a tough life. Moe didn't want that. He had some of that. He did some of that. Didn't want it. Went home. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have an incredible golf swing. It doesn't mean that he didn't discover something that might be great for everybody to learn just because he didn't win a major. So if you talk to any great golfer that knew Moe Norman, Lee Trevino, Tiger Woods that had met Moe, Vijay Singh, the late Ken Venturi, all these guys that had known, Ben Hogan, they would tell you this guy is the greatest ball striker that's ever played the game. The best players in the world are saying it.
When you talk about Moe Norman, you're talking about a legend. And you say, that's the Canadian guy that hits it so damn good, isn't it? And I says, that's him. He's a legend with the professionals.
Good ball strikers recognize good ball striking. I mean, the purity of technique of a swing for the average guy that can now hit a ball solid down the fairway and get benefit from a single plane swing because he learned Moe Norman's swing, that's the focus here. I think it's fun to see a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, who, yes, there are some differences in Bryson. Golf has become a game of distance. I mean, let's face it. But you know what's fun about golf? Is knowing that every day I wake up, that I'm going to hit it solid down the fairway, and then I'm going to be able to play the game and have fun. That's what matters to me. And that's what should matter to most people, is not that Moe didn't win a major, not that they should try to hit it 345, that they hit a ball solid and a ball straight, and they know it's going to go down the fairway, and they're going to be able to play and have fun playing golf. That's the focus. I taught conventional golf for a short period of time in my life, and it was so difficult to believe in what I was doing. The reason that I love what I do and love this whole idea of in Moe Norman was it was an easier way. Moe was the validation of it, the feeling of greatness, right? Moe knew that he had something, and he would tell you this, I have something that nobody else has. But I don't think Moe really knew the biomechanics of it, like what I dig myself into quite a bit. You were seeing Moe take a club shaft and start it and impact on the same design of the golf club. So you weren't altering the plane of the golf club. So there was so much common sense I was seeing that I just knew intuitively that this was such a better way to accomplish hitting a golf ball. But Moe figured it out, and I honestly believe that. And it gives me something to teach that I really believe in. And I was involved with a company called Natural Golf, which was teaching a single plane version. It was basically the scientific version of Moe Norman without ever knowing who Moe really was. And then that collaboration happened when Mark Evershed, a good friend of mine and a well-known instructor, said to the founder of Natural Golf, he said, hey, this is what Moe Norman did, this whole idea of starting on a single plane. So Natural Golf was doing a clinic with Moe in Chicago in 1994, and I went to Chicago and met Moe for the first time and watched him hit golf balls in a clinic. And it's hard to describe the sound of the ball. That was the thing, just hearing the sound of the contact, the trajectory of the golf ball, the energy the ball came out with in the initial flight. These are like little bullets that are just going out there with just perfect trajectory, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And there's a 250-yard target down there, and there's a metal pole, and the ball would just go ding. About every fifth or sixth or seventh ball, you'd hear it. Everyone's going right at it, and all of a sudden he'd hit the pole, from 250 yards. And Moe the whole time is saying, it's so easy, so simple, it's a walk in the park, as Moe would always do when he was hitting golf balls, just doing what he loved to do. And that's what you kind of saw when Moe did a clinic, is you put him a golf club in his hand, you put him on the driving range, he would transform into a great performer, and also you could just see his love for golf and his love for the game. So as he's doing this clinic, he's going through the bag, and I gotta tell you, this driving range he was doing a clinic on, the ground was hard, it was not a nice driving range, the balls were crappy, and Moe hated hitting crappy golf balls, because you can hit a crappy golf ball, it doesn't fly right. And what was funny is, I met Moe that day after the clinic, I sat down with him, and I asked him a couple of questions. I said, how'd you learn to do that? And he said, hard work, you can't buy it, and I thought that was interesting. And then he let me hit some of his clubs. Now, keep in mind that a year before this clinic, I had seen him on video, right? So I was already doing it. I was already somewhat doing it. I wouldn't say that I was perfect by any means, but I was in Moe form, and I asked him to hit some of his golf clubs, and when Moe would do a clinic, his clubs would be scattered everywhere. It looked like somebody just took the trunk of their car and just dumped it on the range, and so he saw these clubs everywhere. So Moe's clubs were laying around, and I asked him, can I hit your 8-iron? And he said, sure. And so I started, and he go, ooh, looks like me without a belly, because I was imitating Moe. I had done this for a year, so I was very close to being able to pretty much do what he had talked about. So Moe and I, became friends, and we'd spend time doing clinics, hitting balls, and playing golf. And I spent as much time as I could when he was free and I was free. But then I got to know him as a person. I got to know, who he was, and so there's that side of Moe. There's my friend Moe Norman, who is like all your other friends, has his idiosyncrasies, and you just appreciate him and love him for what he is. And that's the Moe that I knew, aside from the golf side of Moe, which I got to know over the 10 years. His birthday was July 10th, so I'd always try to go sometime in early July. And there's times we'd go hit balls on the range on his birthday, and I'd take him to dinner or whatnot. In the particular video, the last round that I played with Moe, Moe. So this was 2004. This is the year Moe passed away. So I once again was making a trip, and I usually went with Larry Olson, who is the president of Natural Golf Corporation. Larry is really the reason most people know Moe Norman, because Larry loved Moe Norman. Larry loved who he was. He loved the golf swing. He loved everything about what Moe represented, and was instrumental in getting Moe on the cover of Golf Digest. If you see the 95 issue of Golf Digest, you're seeing Moe on the cover of that, and then you see a nice 26-page article about Moe and the single plane swing. That was Larry Olson's doing, and if that wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't have seen the deal with Titleist ever happen for Moe. You wouldn't have seen Moe Norman becoming a sports figure. That was Larry Olson's doing. So you got to give Larry a ton of credit for that happening. But so Larry and I would go travel up and see Moe, and we'd take Moe into the batting cages once in a while on the range, and we'd do fun stuff. But on this particular, we knew Moe's health wasn't well. So we had an inclination this may be the last time we'd get to spend time with Moe. Then we got you crazy guys on film. And the other thing too is Barry Morrow, who had written a screenplay about Moe, we're trying to get the movie thing happening, and we wanted Moe to be encouraged.
Especially if the movie comes out too, that's 5 or 10 million.
Yeah.
And 4%.
You mean once the movie is done? Okay. That'd be great.
Our goal was kind of to be encouraging to Moe, to keep him around longer. I mean, we didn't know how long he had, but we wanted to make sure he was encouraged. Number one, the movie coming out, and we wanted to get Moe back down to Florida, and Moe would come do clinics at our golf school sometimes. And so anyway, so we traveled up there to see him. And what's interesting is a lot of times when I would see Moe, he just would go play 9 holes. He didn't want to play more or whatever. But he wanted to play 18 holes this day. I mean, he wanted to keep playing.
Great, Moe.
So after we get warmed up, we go to the first hole, and Moe turns to me and says, I figured out putting. And so Moe always said stuff like this to me, like, I figured out, I go, what do you mean, Mo? And he said, every putt's like a 3-footer. Every putt's like a 3-footer. And I said, okay. I said, well, let's see. And I'll swear to this day, Mo's swing always looked the same to me, but he aged, right? So you'd see his swing a little shorter and he wouldn't move as fast. But that's what we do when we age, you know, sometimes, but the mechanics of the swing are all there. And so Mo hits it down the fairway. And he was hitting about 220 yards off the tee, you know, not as long as he used to be, but, you know, right down the middle. Hits a shot to the front of the green, a 7-iron to the front of the green. So he's on the front right of the green. And I'm tending the flag. And I'll swear to this day that he rolls the 60-footer, goes down the slope, goes right in the middle of the hole. And he looks at me and he goes, told you, everything's a 3-footer, and he just walks off the green. That happened on the very first putt. After he just said to me, every putt's a 3-footer, it was a 60-footer. So I was laughing. I mean, but this happened all the time with Mo. I mean, this wasn't like, oh, got lucky. And it was like, this Mo does, just like the first clinic I saw me hit the flag, hit the target the first 3 times. This always happened. I mean, this stuff, Mo always did this kind of stuff. So we kind of played along, and I don't think he always believed that I was on track. Like sometimes, you know, but this time he finally said to me, he says, I never thought I'd see it. Never thought I'd see it. I said, see what? And he goes, I never thought I'd see somebody just like me, playing golf just like me. Like he was impressed that I had, you know, pretty much kind of figured it out. And he was impressed by that. And he said, and he was the whole time he's saying, I can't believe somebody dedicated their whole life to my swing. I can't believe that, you know. So that was really encouraging to me that Mo was recognizing that and knowing what I had done and how I was building an entire academy around his swing and all that. So we talked about a lot of that. But we get to this one shot. Mo hits this little wedge shot. Like he's in the fairway, hits the wedge shot. And I noticed that when he hit the shot, he didn't look up. Like he just kept his head down.
Nice.
Nicely done.
I go, Mo, what was that? And he goes, the Rockway shot. Mo had this little shot, and he called it the Rockway shot.
Why do you call it the Rockway move?
That's the Rockway move.
What does that mean?
Stay on the right foot longer and hit it straight up in the air.
Why do you call it the Rockway move?
Because that's the only shot that would hold the greens where he learned to play.
Huh.
They were so hard.
Oh, the greens are so hard?
Oh, they were murder.
The Rockway move.
So he showed me a little Rockway shot, little wedge shot out there, which Mo was always kind of showing you stuff if you asked. That was kind of a normal thing when you played around with Mo, is him kind of hitting a fade, hitting a draw, hitting it straight, just at whatever you asked him to hit. So that's kind of what we did. And what's funny is we played 9 holes, and then we had a hot dog at the turn, and we're sitting in the golf shop. And I thought, you know, maybe Mo doesn't want to play anymore. And sure enough, he says, just go play 9 more. So we go out and we played the back 9. And I knew he wasn't feeling that well, and I knew that it was probably hard for him to play that last round. And I knew that he probably kind of knew that it may be the last time I got to see him and play with him, because he knew that I probably wouldn't see him before, you know, the fall when he would go to Florida. And he wasn't going to Florida that much anymore because of his health. So we kind of knew. We kind of knew that was the last time I'd get to play with him. And then it was a funny story because Mo kept saying that he met a ghost. You know, and I was kind of like just not really paying attention. Didn't really like, okay, Mo, you know, and didn't really pay attention. So we get to dinner, and there's a restaurant in Kitchener. And it's next to this hotel where we were staying. And inside this restaurant, there's a bar, there's a steakhouse upstairs, and there's an Italian place downstairs. So it's kind of a 3-level type thing. And when we arrive, Mo is sitting in the chair. Mo hated if you were ever late. I don't remember one time Mo ever being late. I mean, I don't know if it was an affinity for time or the 2 watches he was wearing or the 3 watches he was wearing, but Mo was like very, very regimented about being on time. I hated when I was late around Mo because he would hold it against me for a little while. So anyway, Mo was early, right? So we get there, and Mo's sitting in the chair, and he's kind of sitting by the hostess stand, and he has 6 pieces of paper in his hand. I said, "What's that, Mo?" And he hands me a piece of paper, and he goes, "Met a ghost, and the ghost gave me this," and he gives me a copy. Mo had made copies of this. It was a piece of paper that he had made copies. He didn't make copies. Somebody had made copies for Mo. And all it said on the paper said, "Play golf from the heart. Play golf from the heart." That's what it said. So I put it in my pocket. And so we asked Mo, "Where do you want to eat? You want to eat a steak, house right here, or Italian downstairs?" And we had all planned on going to the steakhouse. And Mo said, "Downstairs." So we said, okay. So we go downstairs to eat dinner, and Moe orders a steak from the Italian restaurant. That was Moe Norman. But anyway, so we go downstairs. But then I actually put the camera down on the table, and we had a chat, you know, and I was with Gus Maui and Audrey Maui and Larry. And Audrey and Gus were the caretakers of Moe Norman. They were great to Moe. And so we were having a dinner conversation there.
All right, Moe. Happy birthday, Moe.
Well, I just think every day, there's a lot of nice things in there, both believing in yourself and your heart.
Just got to tell a photo.
Yeah, I mean, you are good that way, you know.
And I always had Moe pull out the money that was in his pocket. He used to carry $20,000 or $30,000 in his pocket. And I had him pull it out on the table and show how much money he had. So I think he throws the money on the table, and I started counting it or whatever. Moe talked about this whole idea of playing golf from the heart, and we talked a little bit about that. But that was kind of the last time that I spent with Moe, and it was good to, you know, play golf with him and actually have a final dinner with him. I got a call from Larry Olson that Moe had passed away, and I don't really remember. I just remember calling my wife. Yeah. Yeah. September 4th. What's interesting about that time period was Barry Morrow, who had written the movie, Barry was in the process of repurchasing the script back from Warner Brothers, and it happened on September 15th. So we knew that date was coming. And so we were hoping that we were going to get the script purchased back before Moe passed. We didn't know Moe was going to pass, but we knew that his health was failing. So we were hoping, and we were trying to encourage Moe, hey Moe, because what happened is Warner Brothers had held on to this script for 5 years, and they hadn't produced the film. And so Moe was like, okay, my film's never going to be produced. And then we're like, okay, Moe, we're going to get it back. So we were hoping that the idea and the thought of getting the film back would keep Moe encouraged. So, but he passed before that, and then we finally bought the script back in September 15th. I just think about that trip I'd make every year to go see him, you know, that kind of thing. Because, you know, Moe wasn't, you couldn't just pick up the phone and call Moe. I mean, it wasn't like all your friends, I pick up your cell phone and I talk to some of my friends every day, you know. And Moe wasn't, no, there's no cell phones. Moe wasn't carrying a cell. I couldn't just go, hey Moe, what's going on, you know. So there was just contact points, and I had to make a lot of effort. Fly to Canada, go over there and see him, go to Florida, see him. So there was just making those contact points. So yeah, I mean, not being able to do that anymore, you know, and see him, or see him in Florida for that matter. So I think about that, you know, I think about, you know, and I think about the times when I love talking golf with Moe. I just love the golf conversations. I love the, Moe is always in learning mode. So all good golfers are always in learning mode. You're always learning a new shot. You're always learning a new feeling. You're always, you know, it's always this kind of never-ending quest for just golf, you know. And Moe was always in that mode. So when I'd see Moe, he'd have all these new ideas and all this new stuff he'd been thinking about, and we'd have golf conversations, you know. We'd speak the language, and I miss that. That was fun. That was always fun. Yeah. My favorite story was Gus Maui told me. It's one of my favorite stories. And it was where, and Gus told the story, and I hope I get the story semi-right, but Gus said that there was a tournament where, you know, Moe used to sell his prizes. So, and if people don't know, so if you had a first place prize, second place prize, and third place prize, and let's say the first place prize was a refrigerator, and the second place prize was a toaster. Well, I asked Moe one time, I said, how many times, and what Moe would do was he would sell the prize before the tournament. In other words, to make some money, this is why Moe got in trouble, because he would go to you and say, what do you want, a refrigerator, a toaster, or a whatever? And you'd say, I want the toaster. Well, it was second place prize. So Moe would finish second on purpose to make cash, to make some money for selling you the toaster. So I asked Moe the question, I was like, how many times did you finish second on purpose? And he says, 20. 20 times. He finished 22nd 20 times. So we always go, well, Moe had 54 tournament wins or whatever. He had 22nd place finishes that we don't even know about because he was trying to make some cash on the side. Those are great stories. And Gus told me a story where he said that Moe had sold the first place prize which was one of the first gas lawnmowers. So, in other words, Moe went around and he found somebody to buy a gas lawnmower. And so Moe won the tournament, and Moe is on the practice green. 5 people show up on the green to collect their lawnmower. Moe had sold the lawnmower 5 times. And so the sponsor of the tournament, who gave the lawnmowers had to come up with 4 additional lawnmowers to give away. That's Moe Norman right there. I mean, that's a great story. And so that's Moe. And how many times did he do that, you know? So it's funny to hear like sponsors had to kind of cover him, you know, cover for him. That's great. And the thing about, that's the beauty of Moe, is that I did it my way. That's what Moe used to say, I do it my way, I do it my way. Well, you know what, we need more of that. He's not hurting anybody. He's just being Moe. He's being him. He's doing what he's not trying to please anybody. He's not trying to be something that he's not. He's just being himself. That's the beautiful thing about Moe. That's the character. That's not just the golfer guy. I mean, I'm interested in the amazing golf swing, Moe Norman, and that's what I'm so intrigued by, because I love the golf swing, and Moe was the epitome of that for me. But it's that character too that's just so fun. Add that to the mix, and I think sometimes the swing gets ignored because of that. You know, people just look past it. Oh, Moe's a weird guy, and he had this weird swing. You know, they kind of relate the two. But actually, Moe's kind of a weird guy and an odd guy who was, because of that, developed a biomechanically perfect golf swing. That's what I see, you know, and that's what it took, you know. Not trying to fit in, do it his way, and you get this amazing character and this perfect golf swing.